me show you what you need to know when you're about to start a new web project. First, the basics. When you open up Photoshop, this is what you're going to get. I like to see my previous projects as thumbnails, but in case you want to see them as a list, just click here. It's also worth pointing out that you can sort them in various ways, but my suggestion is you keep it set to last opened. I find that feature very useful. There's a lot of other things going on here, but considering our goal, to create website design in Photoshop and to freelance like a superstar, we'll skip all these other bits. And that's because they have no real impact or value to that end. And just in case you're using a different Photoshop version and you have another layout, again, don't worry about it. To start a new project, you can click on this button here or use the hotkey Ctrl-N. In this new window, you'll get lots of options, but here are the essential points. When in doubt, go to the Web tab and select any one of these choices. It doesn't matter which one you choose because everything can be adjusted at a later point. In general, you can go with 1920 by 1080, which is also called Full HD. To the right side, you have various settings. We'll start with resolution and color mode. For web design work, these are a given: 72 pixels per inch and RGB color mode. The same goes with the bit depth, which is set by default to 8 pixels. If you want to learn more about why that's the case, my other courses further explain these concepts. What's important here is the Artboards feature, which is enabled by default. Depending on your experience, this may be very confusing or a fantastic improvement. In this course, we're not going to use it a lot as it's best used for mobile app design projects, which usually contain tens of screens. We can use it in our web design projects, but first you'll have to learn a thing or two about it as it changes quite a lot of things in your workflow. There's a separate, in-depth lecture about Artboards, but here I just want to show you how to disable it, just in case you leave this box checked. I'll hit Create, and now we'll get this blank project. You can tell you're in Artboard mode by checking the Layers panel. This label also gives it away. If you want to get out of this mode, go to the Layers panel and right-click it. From this list, choose Ungroup Artboards. Now you're back into the regular Photoshop mode that's been the default for years. That's how you create a new project. Let's take care of a few settings before we continue our journey. Let's go to Edit, Preferences. From here, choose General. The hotkey is much easier to remember, Ctrl-K. That's Command-K on a Mac. From this new window, our first stop is Interface. If you want to change your color scheme, this is the place for it. In total, you have 4 choices, but my favorite is the black one. It's up to you what you want to rock. Moving along to file handling, you want to check one important setting, the autosave feature. This should be set to 5 minutes. This means that if Photoshop crashes, it will attempt to recover your progress up until that point, even if you don't manually save. That's tremendous, so don't skip it. Now let's move on to performance, where things are interesting. The short version is this: RAM should be set at around 70%. Under History and Cache, you should choose Web UI Design because that's what we're going to do in Photoshop. As for the history states, this tells Photoshop how many steps it should remember. This equals the number of undos you can perform through Ctrl-Z. 15 to 20 steps is fine. If your computer is powerful, you can bump it up to 50 history states. There's more to say about getting the most out of your computer from a Photoshop point of view, but that's covered in the next lecture. Let's move along to units and rulers, which is one of the most important changes for us. Here, we need to set both these drop-downs to pixels. I know a lot of experienced professionals use points instead of pixels, but that's because they likely have a strong DTP background. That means they're used to printing their designs. In our case, all our work is digital, so that's why we use pixels. Hit OK, and we're done with the first few steps. Congrats! Let's pick this up in the next lecture.